There is a specific kind of silence that follows a decision, the decision to stop texting first, to stop filling the empty spaces, to stop being the one who is always there, always ready, always available. The phone lies on the table, dark and quiet. And in the beginning, this quiet feels loud. It's not a peaceful silence. It's a taut, vibrating silence, filled with the ghosts of messages you would have sent. Your thumb might still hover over the screen. Your body still holds the posture of waiting. You've consciously withdrawn your energy, but your nervous system hasn't gotten the memo yet. It's still braced for the familiar rhythm of pursuit and response, of giving and hoping. And then, something strange happens. This new absence, your absence, begins to take up space. It's not just a lack of your presence. It feels like a presence in itself, a question mark hanging in the air between you. You wonder, does he feel it? Does this silence echo in his world the way it screams in yours? The common advice tells you this is a power move, a tactic. Go no contact, they say. Make him miss you. But your soul knows it's deeper than that. This wasn't a move in a game. It was an act of survival. It came from a place of profound exhaustion, from the slow, painful realization that you were giving more than you were receiving, that you were maintaining a connection that perhaps couldn't stand on its own. You didn't stop being available to manipulate him. You stopped because you could no longer afford to abandon yourself. And now, in this quiet, the real question emerges. Not, when will he text, but, what was actually happening between us? What was he really connecting with? Was it you, the real, complex, living woman? Or was it the convenience of your presence, the reliability of your emotional support? Was he in love with you? Or was he in love with how you made him feel about himself? This is where the surface-level advice fails us, because the answer doesn't lie in his texting habits. It lies in the invisible world of the psyche. It lies in a dynamic that Carl Jung spent his life mapping, the world of projection and the unconscious. What happens when a woman stops being available is not just a shift in relationship dynamics. It's a profound psychological event. It's the moment a mirror is suddenly taken away, forcing a man to see not your absence, but his own reflection, perhaps for the very first time. Before you withdrew, the dynamic was likely predictable. You gave, he received. You initiated, he responded. You offered warmth, reassurance, understanding. You were the keeper of the connection's flame. You might have told yourself this was just your role, that you were the more emotionally expressive one, the more caring one. But on a deeper level, you were performing a crucial and draining psychological function. You were serving as a screen. A perfect, receptive screen onto which he could project a vital part of his own unconscious. In Jungian psychology, this is connected to a powerful archetype in the male psyche, the anima. The anima is the inner image of the feminine, the unconscious feminine side of a man. It's not about his feminine side in a superficial sense. It's a complex, multifaceted energy that holds his capacity for relationship, for emotion, for creativity, for soul. It is often an idealized, almost magical figure in his inner world, a composite of his mother, past lovers, and cultural images of what a woman is. For many men, especially those less connected to their own emotional world, the anima remains a vague, unconscious force. He doesn't experience it within himself. Instead, he unconsciously seeks it outside of himself. He looks for a woman who can carry it for him. He projects this idealized image onto a living person. And when he found you, and you were available, understanding, and emotionally generous, the projection stuck. He wasn't seeing all of you. He was seeing the parts of you that matched his inner, idealized image. Your kindness confirmed his anima's gentleness. Your emotional availability confirmed his anima's nurturing power. Your presence soothed a deep, unconscious longing in him to connect with this part of himself. So, he wasn't just in a relationship with you. He was in a relationship with his own projected soul image. And you, without realizing it, were holding up the mirror. You were keeping the image alive with your constant energy, your constant availability. The love and attraction he felt were, in large part, his fascination and relief at finally seeing his own soul reflected back at him. This is why the connection may have felt so intense, yet so strangely hollow. It's why he might have seemed so captivated, yet so unwilling to truly commit or see the real you, with your own needs, your own flaws, your own separate life. He didn't need the real you, he needed the mirror, and then you stopped. You put the mirror down. This is not a small event for his psyche. It is a crisis. The screen has gone blank. The image he relied on to feel whole, to feel connected to his own emotional depth, has vanished. His first reaction is often confusion. His ego, the conscious part of his mind, doesn't understand what happened. On the surface, you just stop texting as much. Why does it feel so catastrophic? His conscious mind might rationalize it. She's busy, she's playing games, she's met someone else. His ego will try to create a simple, logical story to protect itself from a much more terrifying truth. The truth is, he is experiencing a withdrawal, not from you, the person, but from the projection. The energy source that was feeding his inner world has been cut off. He is suddenly alone with himself, without the comforting reflection of his idealized anima. This is where his behavior can become erratic and contradictory. He might pull back even further, out of pride or fear. His ego feels rejected. The projection was a form of unconscious control. If the screen no longer reflects what he wants, his ego might decide the screen is broken and discard it. This is the man who disappears completely, leaving you to believe he never cared at all. In a way, his ego is protecting him from the pain of seeing that the connection was a fantasy. But there is another possibility. The absence of the projection can create an unbearable void. The silence you created is not empty for him. It's filled with the unsettling static of his own unmet psyche. The anima image, no longer held steady by your availability, begins to flicker. He feels a phantom limb-like pain. He feels a longing, a discomfort, a pull, but he often misinterprets it. He thinks, I miss her. What his unconscious is actually saying is, I have lost contact with a vital part of myself. This is the man who starts to reappear. He might send a low-effort text, a meme, a hey, how are you? He might view your social media stories, a small passive way of trying to get the mirror back up, to see if the image will reappear. He is not necessarily reaching out to connect with you. He is reaching out to soothe the anxiety of his own inner disconnection. He is checking if the screen still works. This is the most dangerous and delicate moment for you, because if you respond with the same old availability, the same rush of warmth and reassurance, you simply pick the mirror back up. The projection clicks back into place. The dynamic resets. He feels a wave of relief. The anxiety subsides, and he has learned a crucial, unconscious lesson. He doesn't need to change. He just needs to apply a little pressure when the reflection disappears. The cycle will continue, and the next withdrawal will be even more painful. The real transformation, for both of you, can only happen in the space your unavailability has created. For him, the prolonged absence of the projection is an invitation from his own unconscious. It's a chance to stop looking for his soul in another person, and to begin the difficult work of finding it within himself. It's a call to integrate his anima, to develop his own capacity for relationship and emotion, rather than outsourcing it. Most men will not consciously undertake this journey. It is painful and confusing. It is easier to find another mirror. But for you, this understanding is everything. It is the key that unlocks you from the prison of waiting and wondering. What happens to him is no longer the central question. The central question becomes, what is happening to you now that you are no longer holding the mirror? For the first time, perhaps in a long time, your hands are free. Your energy is your own. But this newfound freedom can be terrifying. It can feel like emptiness. Why? Because the role of the available one, the caring one, the mirror, was a core part of your identity in this relationship. It was your persona. The persona, in Jungian terms, is the social mask we wear. It's the version of ourselves we present to the world. For many women, conditioned by society and personal history, the persona of the endlessly giving, nurturing, and accommodating partner is a powerful one. It feels good. It gets validation. It makes us feel needed and therefore valuable. But beneath the persona lies the shadow. The shadow is everything we are, but choose not to be. It contains the parts of ourselves we have repressed or denied. And for the woman who has overgiven, her shadow often contains her own unmet needs. Her anger at being taken for granted, her desire to be pursued, to be cherished, to be seen for who she is, not just for what she provides. her own raw, untamed power. Being his mirror kept your shadow safely hidden. As long as you were focused on his needs, on maintaining his reflection, you didn't have to face your own emptiness or your own rage. Your constant availability was not just a service to him, it was a distraction from yourself. When you stop being available, you are not just taking the mirror from him, you are forced to look into it yourself. And you might not like what you see at first. You might see the exhaustion, you might see the resentment that has been building up. You might feel the ache of an abandonment complex, a deep-seated fear that if you are not constantly useful and available, you will be left. This pain is the beginning of your real journey. It's the voice of your shadow, finally getting a chance to speak. It's the voice of your authentic self, calling you back from the brink of self-abandonment. The discomfort you feel in the silence is not a sign that you made the wrong decision. It's a sign that you are finally metabolizing the true cost of the dynamic. You are grieving, not just the loss of him, but the loss of the fantasy. The fantasy that your endless giving would one day be fully reciprocated. The fantasy that if you just loved him enough, he would finally see you. This is where you must be incredibly gentle and incredibly firm with yourself. The urge to pick up the phone, to check on him, to offer a piece of yourself just to soothe the anxiety will be immense. This urge is the addiction to the old role. It's the persona trying to reassert itself because the silence feels like death to the ego that was built around being needed. But this is only the surface. The deeper truth is more uncomfortable. The intensity of the attraction was never a reliable measure of the relationship's health. The intensity was a measure of the projection's power. A powerful projection feels like fate. It feels like a soul connection. It feels like you've known this person forever. Of course it does. You are meeting a man who is unconsciously introducing you to a part of his own soul. The energy is archetypal. It's immense. It's intoxicating. But it is not real love. Real love is not about finding a missing part of yourself in another person. It's about two whole people seeing each other, accepting each other, and choosing each other, flaws and all. Projection is the opposite of this. It is about one person using another as a screen to avoid the difficult work of wholeness. When you understand this, the entire narrative shifts. His silence is no longer a judgment on your worth. His reappearance is no longer a sign of his love. His distance is no longer a mystery to be solved. All of it is simply data about his own inner world, his own relationship with his anima, his own level of psychological maturity. It has almost nothing to do with you. The moment you truly grasp this, the dynamic begins to lose its power. The emotional charge dissipates. You are no longer a participant in his inner drama. You are an observer, and from this place of observation, you can finally make a choice. The choice is no longer, how do I get him to see me? The choice is, do I want to engage with someone who is incapable of seeing me? If he disappears, the answer is clear. He was only interested in the mirror. Let him go. He is seeking another screen, not a real relationship. Grieve the fantasy, but celebrate your freedom. If he comes back, this is where your true power lies. Your power is not in being cold or punishing. It is in your unwavering commitment to not picking up the mirror again. This looks like responding, but not with the old, rushed availability. It looks like being warm, but not pouring your energy into him. It looks like being present, but with a clear boundary that your life, your emotions, and your time are now your own. He will feel the difference immediately. He is expecting the old reflection. Instead, he is meeting a solid person. He is meeting a woman who is no longer a screen, but a reality. This will be deeply unsettling for his ego. He might try to provoke you back into the old role. He might become charming, intense, suddenly full of the promises you always wanted to hear. This is his ego's last-ditch effort to get the projection working again. He is trying to charm the mirror, not the woman. Or he might become sullen and withdrawn, punishing you with silence for not playing your part. He is trying to guilt the mirror back into place. Your job is to do nothing. Your job is to simply be, to hold your center, to stay connected to your own feelings, your own needs. You are no longer reacting to him. You are responding to yourself. This is the ultimate test. Can you tolerate his discomfort? Can you sit with the ambiguity without rushing to fix it? Can you value your own inner peace more than you value his validation? If you can, one of two things will happen. He will retreat for good, because a real woman is far more challenging and far less satisfying to his ego than a fantasy projection. And this will be a gift. It will be the final confirmation that the connection was not sustainable. Or, and this is the rarer path, the shock of meeting a real person where a projection used to be might actually wake him up. It might be the catalyst that forces him to finally confront his own inner world. He might begin, clumsily and imperfectly, to try to relate to you as you are, not as he needs you to be. He might start asking real questions. He might start sharing something of his true self. But here is the most important part. You cannot make this your goal. To hope for his transformation is just another way of holding up the mirror. It's another way of making your well-being dependent on his growth. Your goal is your own transformation. Your goal is to become a woman who no longer needs to be a mirror to feel valuable. A woman whose availability is a conscious choice, a gift offered freely, not a compulsive strategy to avoid abandonment. This process is your individuation. Individuation is the Jungian term for becoming a psychologically whole and distinct individual. It's about withdrawing our projections from the world, integrating our shadow, and living from a centered place of self. This relationship, this painful silence, this entire dynamic was not a mistake. It was a curriculum. It was an assignment from your own soul, designed to teach you exactly this. It was designed to force you to put down the mirror and finally see your own face. If this journey names something you have felt but never been able to articulate, take a moment to acknowledge it. This is not about blame. It's about awareness. The awareness that you participated in a dynamic that ultimately cost you your sense of self, and the awareness that you now have the power to choose a different path. So, what do you do now, in the quiet? You turn your attention inward. You feel the ache of the empty space, and instead of filling it with thoughts of him, you fill it with yourself. You ask yourself the questions you wanted him to ask. How are you, really? What do you need? What brings you joy, separate from any relationship? You rebuild your life not as a stage to make him want to return, but as a sanctuary for yourself. You reconnect with friends. You dive into your work or a creative project. You spend time in nature. You do anything and everything that reminds you that you are a whole, complete universe in and of yourself. You are not a reflection. You are the source of light. The question is no longer whether he will return. The question is who you are becoming while he is gone. Are you becoming more anxious, more obsessive, more lost? Or are you becoming more grounded, more self-aware, more serene? This is the work. It is quiet, internal, and not at all glamorous. It is the work of reclaiming the scattered pieces of yourself that you projected onto him, the hope for wholeness that you thought he could provide. When a woman stops being available, what happens to the man is his story. It is his journey with his own soul, his own anima. You are not responsible for it. What happens to the woman is your story. It is your journey back to your own center. It is the moment you realize that your value was never in your availability to him, but in your presence to yourself. If he does come back, he will not find the girl who held the mirror. He will find a woman. And a woman is not a screen for a fantasy. She is a reality to be met. Not all men are ready for reality, but that is no longer your concern. Your concern is to be so rooted in your own reality, so in love with your own authentic self, that anyone who needs you to be a mere reflection will simply fade away, unable to stand in the light of your wholeness. Your silence is not a game. It is not a tactic. It is a homecoming. It is the sacred space where you finally stop waiting for him to choose you, and you choose yourself, fully and forever. My availability is no longer a resource for others. It is the space where I meet myself. This is not merely a mental shift. It is a physical one. Pay attention to your body. Where did you used to hold the tension of this dynamic? Was it a tightness in your chest as you waited for a reply? A clenching in your jaw as you typed out a carefully worded message, designed not to seem too needy? Was it a shallow breath held in your lungs, a posture of constant, low-grade anticipation? When you truly withdraw your energy, your body begins to unclench. You might notice, one afternoon, that you are breathing more deeply. The chronic ache in your shoulders, the one you'd attributed to work or stress, might begin to ease. This is the body's memory releasing the pattern of self-abandonment. You were physically contorting yourself to hold the shape of his needs, to be the receptive container for his projections. Now, your body is slowly, creakily, returning to its natural state. A state of sovereignty. It is remembering how to exist for its own sake. The energy that was once directed outward, scanning the horizon for his approval, now flows back inward. It becomes a warmth in your own belly, a solidness in your feet on the ground. You are no longer a satellite in his orbit. You are your own center of gravity. This reclamation of physical space is directly tied to the integration of your shadow. That anger and resentment the script mentioned earlier? It's not something to be ashamed of. It is sacred fuel. It is the part of you that loves you enough to scream, "No more." For so long, your persona, the good, understanding, patient woman, has been at the wheel. Your shadow was locked in the trunk, but the constant bumping and rattling from the back was the source of your exhaustion, your unexplained sadness, your feeling of being unseen. By stopping the pattern of availability, you have finally pulled over, opened the trunk, and let the shadow out into the light. At first, its voice may be harsh. It may rage. It may cry. It may fill you with guilt, whispering, "You're being selfish. You're being cold. You're going to end up alone." This is the voice of your conditioning, the echo of a patriarchal system that benefits from women who don't have boundaries. It's also the voice of your own inner critic, your negative animus, which has internalized the belief that your worth is conditional upon your service. Your task is to not argue with this voice, but to listen to it with compassion. Beneath the rage is a deep grief. Beneath the grief is a simple, profound need. The need to be seen, to be valued, to be met. As you sit with these shadow feelings, a strange alchemy occurs. The rage softens into clear boundaries. The grief transforms into self-compassion. The neediness becomes a simple, honest desire that you can now choose to meet for yourself, or ask for in a healthy way from others who are capable of giving. The shadow, once integrated, becomes your greatest ally. It is the source of your no. And a woman who can say a clear, grounded no is a woman who can offer a truly authentic yes. How do you know this inner work is taking root? You will notice concrete signs, small shifts in the texture of your daily life. The first sign is often a change in your relationship with your phone. The silence from it will no longer feel like a personal rejection, but like a peaceful expanse. You'll put it down for hours and not think about it. The urge to check his social media will fade, not because you are forcing yourself, but because you are genuinely more interested in your own life. Another sign is the quality of your inner monologue. The mental real estate he once occupied, the endless loops of analyzing his words, his actions, his silences, it starts to free up. Into this new mental space, your own thoughts and desires will begin to bubble up. You might find yourself thinking, "I'd love to take a pottery class," or "I want to repaint the living room," or "I'm going to book that trip I've always talked about." These are not distractions. They are the voice of your authentic self, reclaiming its territory. You will also feel a shift in your decision-making. Before, many of your choices, even small ones, may have been unconsciously filtered through the lens of his potential perception. Should I post this photo? What will he think? Should I go out with my friends tonight? What if he decides to call? Now, you will begin to make choices from a clean, clear place of your own desire. The primary question becomes, what do I want? And the freedom in that question is breathtaking. You are no longer living a life in reaction to a man's presence or absence. You are simply living. And then, just when you feel you have truly arrived in this new, solid sense of self, the universe may send you a final exam. This is the late practical test. It won't come when you are still raw and hurting. It will come months, maybe even a year later, long after you've stopped waiting. It will arrive on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. A text message, his name on your screen. But this time, your body will not jolt with a spike of cortisol and hope. Your heart will not pound in your chest. Instead, you will feel a profound stillness, a quiet curiosity. You will look at his name as if he were a character from a book you read a long time ago. The emotional charge is gone. His message might be apologetic, reflective. He might say he's done a lot of work and that he realizes what he lost. This is the anima projection in its most seductive, final form. It's the fantasy that he has finally woken up, that your absence taught him the lesson you always hoped he would learn. The old you would have leaped at this. The old you would have seen it as vindication, as the triumphant ending to your love story. But the new you, the integrated you, simply observes. You don't feel the need to reply immediately. You don't feel the need to prove you've moved on. You feel nothing but a calm neutrality. If and when you choose to respond, your words will come from this place of wholeness. There will be no bitterness, but there will be no open door either. It might be a simple, "I appreciate you sharing that. I wish you well." It is a response that is kind, yet utterly closed. It is not a punishment. It is a statement of fact. The fact is that the position of his woman is no longer vacant. It was never truly filled by you in the first place, and now the space itself has been renovated, redesigned, and repurposed for its rightful occupant, your own soul. Passing this test isn't about rejecting him. It's about realizing, on a cellular level, that you no longer need anything from him. Not his validation, not his apology, not his presence. His journey is his own. You are no longer a supporting character in it. You are the protagonist of your own epic. And in this understanding, a soft, gentle wisdom settles in. The pain you went through was not meaningless. That relationship dynamic, as toxic and draining as it was, served a profound purpose. It was the grain of sand in the oyster. It was the irritant that forced you to create a pearl, a resilient, luminous, integrated self. You can almost feel a quiet gratitude for the experience, not for the pain it caused, but for the growth it demanded. You learn that true love doesn't arrive to complete you, because you are already complete. It arrives to witness you, to celebrate you, and to meet you in your wholeness. The journey away from being his mirror is the journey toward becoming a woman who is ready for that kind of love. And more importantly, it is the journey of falling in love with the woman you found when you were finally, blessedly, alone. The silence you once feared has become your most trusted friend, your wisest counselor. It is the space where you learn that your availability was never the prize. Your presence, to yourself, was the entire kingdom.